My name is Annie Dandavadi, and I am a member of and legal advisor to the team. We have a very, very special guest with us today, whom you will meet shortly. And the focus for today's session is going to be occupational wellness. Just very briefly, when we talk about our healthcare models pretty much across the world, we generally look at what is a reactive model, meaning that, people get sick, they have some issue, they go to the doctor, and then they start a treatment. What our goal is to help people move more towards a proactive model of health and wellness, which is take control of your overall health so you can actually avoid problems. And should you already have developed a problem, then by making these lifestyle changes, you can actually eliminate or reduce the negative impact of those health problems. For those of you who are new to us or joining us for the first time, very briefly, I want to tell you that we have an amazing team of physicians and experts from different fields, including eminent speakers like the one you're going to hear from today, all of who are offering their time and knowledge to help us in this wellness journey. So just to help put things into perspective, what we are using in this program is what's called the iceberg model of wellness. And this model divides wellness into 6 different categories, if you will: physical, emotional, intellectual, social, occupational, and spiritual. And if you picture an iceberg, it's typically just the tip that is, outside of the water surface, and that's the physical. But wellness is often a culmination or a combination of how we are doing on all the other spectrums. So we have already covered the physical and emotional and intellectual. And today we are going to be talking about occupational wellness. And to introduce our guest for today, I will be calling upon Dinesh Chandra. Most of you know Dinesh, but again, very briefly, Dinesh has worn many different hats in his life, like most people. He's been a leader in organizational change management, having worked with several global companies. But for the past several years, he's committed his time and energy to researching and deepening his knowledge related to wellness and healing. He's authored several different books and articles on personal and organizational change. And one of them is that he's most proud of, perhaps, is entitled "What is True Wealth and How Do We Create It?" And this was based on his transformational leadership workshop with His Holiness, the Dalai Lama. So without further ado, I present to you Dinesh Chandra.
Thank you, Annie. And I'm pretty enthusiastic today because occupational wellness, as you all know, when we are aligned with our purpose, then magic happens, and universe conspires to support us. And it's all about discovering your purpose and aligning with it. And the challenge comes on the way. It's not easy. And then to create a financial success is not easy. It's tremendous amount of juggling. And when I was thinking about this, then the person instantly came to my mind is, of course, Ashwini Khurana, who is a beautiful example about bringing that balance. I had met Ashwini when I had moved to India to work on quality improvement. And he was just back in the news. The year was 1988, and the biggest taxpayer of India. And when I was introduced to him, so I went to see him. And there was this person, total in humility, and I instantly connected with him. And then I found out about his passion. That was, he wanted to plant 100,000 trees in 10 years. And as we kept in touch, 4 years later, he mentioned that he's only planted 28,000, so he was short. So what to do? So he then started buying rural land around Delhi. And lo and behold, he was able to meet his goal. And also that land multiplied beyond his wildest imagination and appreciated. And then, given his passion as an environmentalist, Mr. Tree, then he started to develop an eco resort. And it's a unique premier eco resort in India today, eco-friendly and all the things. I don't want to share them all with you now. I would invite Ashwini to share some of his journey and how he has been able to create this occupational wellness and total wellness, as you will see how he gets involved into other activities, social, spiritual, and all the other activities. So here is Ashwini Khurana.
Thanks for having me over this morning. Well, let's start with my younger days. I was brought up by migrants from Pakistan. Parents had moved into India from there during the partition. Times were tough, very tough. When I was young, I remember summer times, asbestos sheet roof in the house used to throw fire down the ceiling. And afternoon, we slept under the wooden bed to keep the fire off. And it was a 100 square yard resettlement colony house. And life was especially tough for me because I was sent to a public school. The place was fancy. The background from where I belonged was a mismatch to where I went. So this mismatch led to, I would say, an abused childhood. A teacher once picked up on me and says, "Hey, raffle man, you're going to get me a winning raffle ticket from your dad's shop tomorrow." Dad was in the lottery business, and raffle is another name for that. So the teacher wanted me to get him a raffle ticket, which is going to win him a prize. If it doesn't get into his hands on time, I'm going to be caned. If he gets the ticket on time, the numbers don't match to get him a prize, he's going to cane me again. So not only did I actually get caned, which is unbelievable, unbecoming of a teacher, but that's where it started. And the peer group picked up on the cue, and a kind of an abuse started out there. But the unique thing is, I grew up all along with a clear decision that I will be in the lottery business when I'm grown up. And this nature of my dad's business got me abuse, insult, browbeating, but made me more and more resolute to be in the business. It's a separate story. I not just got into that business. I was so focused, so intense that I was selling like 50 million lottery tickets a day by the time I was a little over 30. And I'd already been the country's highest income taxpayer doing that. Now, one initial lesson of life that I'd like to share with you is, stubbornness. If something got me into problem, I wanted to do that. So it was a single focus mind that got me into that. And then as I went along, the one word that started to resonate a lot with me was karma. So at some point, I started an in-house magazine called Karma. And the karma that came to my mind was environmental friendly practices. Initially, the passion was just to grow trees. And so tree planting things started to happen. And as you rightly said, 4 years into it, 10,000 trees target, 40,000 trees not happened. What to do? Start buying rural and suburban lands. And because the mission is growing trees, and for that you're buying land, the land values, even if when they grew 10 times, 100 times, and 1,000 times, I still sat on exponential returns, which is today 150,000%. So the focus on karma, the focus on intensity This project started with the land acquisition when I was 29 years old. Today I'm 60. I'm yet to see returns in terms of cash flows. But in terms of creation of wealth and capital, it's been an amazing journey. And here we are today, Dinesh. You've been a very important part of my life because initial years of my business, the way I managed my 100 plus employees was literally like a school headmaster. Power flows from the barrel of the gun. If I walk into the office room and there are people chatting, I would feel that they're cheating on me. I'm paying them salaries to be very serious, focused, intensely working. My understanding of intense was different that time. You got to be serious. Seriousness was intense. But then I was not even 30 when I met you actually. And we talked about empowerment and how to make people co-owners of what you're doing. You got me to read a book called Love and Profit. So this book got me to understand how to conduct yourself, love before profit. Love the work you do, love the people who work with you, love the person who you've decided for very powerful reasons to sack the next few days from now. Lose your sleep, toss in the bed because you got to sack this person. So these whole things made the human that I was by the time I was in my early 30s. And I just been building upon it more and more. And here I am today. This is $1 billion worth project in the unmaking. It will soon unfold. And we already have the country's most eco-friendly golf course, a beautiful resort. There's been a certain price to pay, but the journey's been worthwhile.
Thank you, Ashwini, that for beautiful summary. I remember you were always a great learner. And in the Dharamshala workshop, when Peter Block happened to be with us as well, and who can better explain empowerment than Peter Block? And in that workshop, we all discovered our personal mission. And you also discovered your personal mission. So will you talk a little bit about, that was I think in about 22, 20, 23, 24 years ago. But would you describe your mission, what you wrote then, and how that has shaped your life, and what have been the significant events and the key turning points from then on? So, and to the mission you wrote, you recently sent me a copy of that, is to creating harmony of humans with nature and spreading happiness. And of course, the byproduct is inner peace and financial abundance. Those were parts of that, what I remember. So please share.
Yeah, this is like 25 years ago.
Correct.
I committed my life to the harmony of humans with nature, and I vowed to discover true love before I die. And so this, I guess the love business came because I was in a loveless and a painful relationship at that time. So at that time, I understood is the pursuit of a lover who has a great bond with you and a great relationship. But then as time has gone on, it's love of the self that is the greatest romance on earth. And it's important to have realized that, because at that time, because I loved my children, I was in a terrible relationship. It was very painful. And I would continue to deal with that pain for the love of the children, till there came a day I realized, before even loving the children, you got to love yourself. Children were always in the crossfire. They were suffering. They were not doing well in school. They were in pain. But the drag was on because I wouldn't walk out of the situation because you don't want to hurt the children. So, in fact, writing down that mission statement with Peter Block and Dinesh Chandra right there started me up on the journey to exit from the painful relationship. I did at that time realize love is not always togetherness. Love is not always loving the other person, including your own child, before you. It's not sacrifice. So, first of all, if you know what love is all about, start with yourself. Once you know that, then you can love somebody else, including uh, the Creator's creation. So, it's been a wonderful self discovery, a journey where I got out of that relationship. I had to let go of the children for a short while and walked out alone from the house. But then I realized that worked wonders. For the love of the children, I was in painful relationship continuing. When I walked out on them, a certain negotiation happened. The children came to me, and I was always their mom, dad when I was in the problem situation. And now, without the problem, without any crossfire in which the children could be growing up, I've had them for so many years, and it's been wonderful. I had also talked about the harmony of humans with nature, which went on scaling up in terms of buying land to grow trees. Karma Lakeland's acquisition happened at that time, as I shared with you. And today we sit on $1 billion project. Now, the beauty is, I've always said, if you want something, your purpose should be larger. Here, the purpose was growing trees. The pursuit was not creation of wealth. Pretty much, if you chase a woman or chase wealth, they are elusive. That's my learning. You do your karma great, be focused, be intense, and the cosmos is going to collude favorably and get you what you want. And that's the beauty of the way things have opened up in my life.
I think the fame came to you pretty early, and at age 28, and then also recently you were recognized by NDTV as the eco warrior and the environmentalist, and you also got the prestigious awards, Kotler Achievement Lifetime Achievement Award, and so that must have been quite the egoful journey. How did you manage to kind of, but you don't live that life, you live in tremendous humility. How were you able to transcend your ego? What kind of event, something happened? How did you open your heart up? And how did you learn to surrender? Could you share something more about it?
I'll share with you. I've been last 15 years learning yoga and meditation in a very intense way. I've done a lot of sadhana with Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev, and the Kriya Yoga that I've learned has taken me to another level of being grounded, and pretty much like there have been situations in my life. I've been to jail. I've been through situations where there's been a contract on my life, and because of no ego problems, no vendetta issues, love of the self, as I said, the greatest romance. Now, if you love yourself, you're not going to live in hate. You're not going to live in vendetta. And so these situations in life, whether it was the litigation with my business partners with whom I fell apart at some point, 11 years of very intense pan-India litigation. There were like 25 legal cases all over the country. And at one point, I remember walking out of the arbitration hall with the same bunch of people, very happy. The arbitrator had already told them that the allegations against me were unfounded, and he was going to drop the proceedings against me. I just happily come out of the hall after the arbitration, and the next thing I realize is 10 cops arrest me. I'm taken in, and the next 3 weeks I spend in jail, of which 2 weeks in custodial investigation. Now, to keep the story short, first of all, the most beautiful, the most memorable period of my life, if you ask me, were these 3 weeks in jail, because this was the culmination of the most troubled periods of my life. Trouble as in something in like 16 months time. I had lost 2 children in a car crash. I had lost a marriage which at that time I treasured a lot. I had had tax raids, and then I was in jail. Despite that, I realized that while the external factors of my life were not in my control, my interiority, the way I would process it inside my own self, in my energies, was in my hands. I was very clear. All I had to do was, while in jail, I scaled up my yoga and meditation from 1.5 hours a day to 3 hours a day, because there was nothing else to do. Sometimes I'd wake up at 4 a.m. I wouldn't have a watch. I had a few other people thrown into the same cell at night because somebody got drunk, somebody got into a brawl. So I was not in great company, but my interiority was the best. And so this was the period when I was put to test. So my yoga, my meditation, ego was no problem, because since ego was no problem, happily slept on the floor. The toilet was a hole in the ground with a side wall which is about 2.5 feet, 3 sides, and and there was no problem. So once ego is no problem, acceptance is another thing. So whatever is coming your way, you accept, you don't resist, and you understand that it is inevitable. So once it's inevitable, you don't resist, you live in the flow. I lost 2 children and other stuff. But I realized, we Hindus believe in reincarnation. If somebody who dies is going to be born again, there's no death in a way. It's just the change of bodies. Now, all of us, in terms of knowledge, maybe in wisdom, minds, we know it. But to take it to the next level of acceptance, it's a different ball game altogether. And I guess I have the blessings of the master. I've been doing my sadhana, and all this worked wonders. I just sailed through unscathed, better, not bitter.
That's an amazing story of resilience. And let me turn a little bit to your professional side, the occupational side. You have created this beautiful eco resort, which is unique, one of its kind, probably around the world. And you are passionate about responsible living. Would you tell us in Karma Lakeland, how would you describe Karma Lakeland? And what is it which you are passionate about?
Dinesh, if you were to visit my WhatsApp DP with the message says, at war against honkers, litterers, smokers, and suckers, brackets of straws. Now, this was some time ago. And these are few things that represent the culture at my eco resort. We are basically all set to create a clean, green, serene, and eco-responsible gated community of like-minded people. Now, this is unique. No honking is a very unique Indian situation. You people in the US wouldn't relate what's he talking about. But out here, everybody's honking, everybody's agitated, and litter is all over, and straws, we wouldn't serve in our restaurants because of the plastic issue. And even paper straws would be given only upon request. Then this resort, we've done stuff like bee farming. The pursuit was to promote pollination, because pollination, as we all know, is very important to creating and sustaining life on the planet. If there are no bees, the life on the planet after 4 years wouldn't exist. So this is something that I had known for a while. And so the resort makes its own organic, natural, local honey. And one interesting thing that we've experimented here, and that is biocomposting of all the waste. We've got farm animals, cows, goats, chickens out there. So the other day, I went down to the farm animal side, and the goats were on top of the biomass pile, eating up the leaves and stuff. The immediate thought was our Karma Lakelands goats are relentlessly at work making soil energizer. And they're not the only ones who do that. The goats are accompanied with the cows, the chickens, the golfers, the hotel guests, the staff. All of us do the same thing. We are all creating soil energizer. Between the resort, the head office, my home neighborhood, the resort neighborhood, 200,000 liters of sewage and 1 to 2 truckloads of biomass. They are merged together every day. And when you merge these two simple things together, it expedites decomposition of the biomass. The temperature of the biomass goes all the way up to something like 70 degrees Celsius. It's, you put your hand inside this kind of a composting pile. We do aerobic composting. The piles are on the surface. We don't dig holes and put the biomass there. So this aerobic composting of biomass and sewage has been scaled up to an amazing level. And probably that was one clincher that got us our golf resort the most eco-friendly golf award in the country. So pollination, composting, rainwater harvesting, and the greenest place. Our focus is moving from reducing grass. On the golf course, there are lots of trees. It's a mini forest come golf. And the other landscaped areas, the emphasis is in growing your own food rather than grass in the gardens. So lawns, grass would be minimum. I often joke with people, like the lockdown days in Delhi these days, there was a severe shortage of fresh vegetables. And I had no problem because we have little grass and lots of local organic vegetables growing at the resort, at the head office come residence. And I often joke with people, listen, if there's a fresh vegetables shortage, it can be possible now that the lockdowns and the corona days are here and they're to stay. Are you going to eat grass when such things happen? Or you'll grow more of your own food? So we grow our own food at Karma Lakelands. We grow our own compost, farm animals. Now, the whole natural way of living. Farm animals give you amazing bacteria, which is earth friendly, and these are the things that are the religion to us, and we follow it pretty seriously.
No, Ashwini, as you speak, your passion just comes through so clearly. And in this pandemic times, when people are home, I think it's a beautiful opportunity for people to really think about what is their purpose, what is their life all about, and aligning it. And you are a living proof that when you align with your purpose, you have this tremendous joy. And I also want to know, I have people I have met, they are aligned with their purpose, they have done well, but somehow financially they don't do well. And if financially you have not done well, then you can't sleep well. And if you can't sleep well, then if you're always worried about money, then you're going to have a not very healthy life. So what has been your relationship with money, and how you have been able to not only pursue your purpose and your inner calling, but you're also able to maintain a very healthy relationship with money and generate a tremendous amount of capital for the whole earth and for all the people. What is the secret?
I tell you, my mantra is abundance. If the spirit with which you deal with money is abundance, your happy to let go of money where required. You're not stingy, nor you're a spendthrift. See, if ego doesn't drive you, you don't need a Ferrari, even if you have all the money that could buy you the Ferrari. You may buy a Ferrari because you want that experience, but if you want to buy it because you want to feel the guy with the one of the fanciest vehicles on the road, then you'll meet somebody who has a private plane and he'll make you feel small. So my relationship with money is that I'm austere but not stingy. I don't have the ego problems. And actually, I don't count money. Like often, my children studied overseas in the most expensive colleges all over the globe. If somebody asked me, and it happened, what kind of fee structure is so and so college in the US or UK? I actually didn't even know whether I'm paying $100,000 a year for this child's college fee or it's $15,000. All I knew was there was a method to my madness. That there's a discipline, there's a balance, and on the other side, there's abundance. I know I'll be able to pay the bills because there's a larger balance going on. But I don't get into the minor side of things. And for example, I brought up my children. There was no budgets for the children. They would ask for whatever amount of money. I would give them a couple of dollars more. Even today, they ask me for 10,000 rupees, I'd probably pull out 15 and give it to them. If you see any of my children, you'd be surprised. They don't look like children of a man who pays so much of taxes, who's created so much of wealth. They're down to earth, they're middle class children. None of them drives a Mercedes or any foreign car. There are 5 foreign cars at home. None of the children touches any one of them. Only sparingly, the boy will come up, Dad, I'm in a mood to indulge today. Can I take up the GLS? I never say no. But they've grown up without budgets, without any constraints on how much they can spend. And the same concept of abundance has gone on to them. So when there's abundance, whenever there are problems, like pandemic times, there are migrants stuck up, busloads of people are being sent back to their homes. I'm sponsoring and supporting them. I don't even count where is the money coming from, where is it going? It's going for a good cause. There's abundant amount of it. The humanity needs this thing at this time. You got to do it. And there you are. So this is pretty much my relationship with money. I think I'm the master, it is not the master.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now let's go a little bit into the lockdown times. And I think there are 2 prevalent beliefs if you talk to people and friends. Some people are just waiting to go back to the old situation again, what they call back to the normal. Maybe in 6 months, maybe in a year, maybe in 2 years. Where there are other people who believe that there is no going back to the normal. We have changed forever, and we are transforming as a whole humanity. And we are transforming in the sense that our health is become a major issue because people are now caring for some of their health issues, at least the ones which are in their control, the diet and the sleep and all those things, because they know that if your health is not well, then you have a higher risk of getting the pandemic. Similarly, I think relationship. I predict that the number of relationships which are going to be breaking up or people are going to be moving forward is going to increase because people have never been together for such a long time together. So it's really testing you if you are able to really accept each other and survive with each other and grow. And then, of course, money. People are really worried about their businesses, if they are, or their jobs, and what will happen. So, what is your belief? Are we in for a new world? Are we changing everything forever? And are we going to see? If whatever is the case, how can one prepare for this new world? And all in health, in relationships, and in money, and so on.
One thing this pandemic and almost 7 billion people locked up in their own homes is going to result in is a lot of children after a few months. Yes, there'll be a lot of breakups and divorces. There will be some status quos as well. And a few relationships, I promise you, mine is one of them, which would come out better than what it used to be before the pandemic. But largely, there'll be lots of children and lots of breakups. And yes, the world is not going to be the same again.
So talking about your relationships, what is the contribution and participation of your life partner, Dickie, now in this whole where you are in your life?
See, there's a saying, behind every successful man, there's a woman surprised. Or they also say, behind every successful man, there's a woman pushing him forward. I promise you, mine is not surprised. She's pushing me forward. Not just pushing me forward, she's coming along with me. See, between the two of us, I'm the eco passion and I'm the speaking part of the company. She's the doer. So she actually executes. She works. I'm surprised. She'll be seen on a biomass pile with fresh sewage flowing in on top of the pile and just be moving around the pipe. She's got literally sewage on her clothes, on her hands. She works on the kitchen gardens. At a smaller level at home, 8 acres is not very small a level though. And then in the 300 acres resort as well. So while I do the talking, I sign the checks, she does the real work on the ground, empowering the 50 people who work with her, how to, her fight, for example, always is irrigate less. If you put less water on the grass roots are going to go deep looking for water. If you over irrigate, the grass roots are going to get lazy. They'll stay at the top. You don't want a grass or any plant which does not grow deep roots. So, her daily fights with the people, a happy fight, collaborative work actually, I see her doing is minimizing water for irrigation, getting back some results, handling the poo. So she's a true partner, We do our own things. I do the talking, she does the working. Works very well.
And how is your social life? What are you doing in pandemic times to celebrate your...
Interestingly, she and we know 6 different forms of Latin and Argentinian dances. We met many years ago in the dance class. I was going through a terrible time in my marriage, so was she in her life. So on a rebound, we had not only the dance companionship, but a little romance. Then we went back to working on our family lives. Nothing worked right. Eventually, today means last 8 years, we are together. And dance being the common hobby, pandemic time especially, almost every day, about an hour, we dress up properly. We're not stepping out at all. We dress up properly as if we're going out to a fancy party, and we do our dance practices. Tango is the flavor of the season, and it's a very romantic, very meditative dance. It's not like a workout. So if you want to dance for the purpose of a workout, tango is not your form. Then you got to do some different stuff. So we do tango, and so dancing is one. Another very interesting thing is we do hands-on farming. We grow our own food. We work in the soil ourselves. There's a saying, if you walk bare feet, your feet on the soil, your hands touch mud every day, some kind of earthing of your energies happens. You're grounded, your egos would be in place, your body energies would be in perfect vibrance. So as I said, few people whose romance would be enhanced in these pandemic times. We are contesting for that. We're also contesting for the most eco-friendly, the best gardens, the best food growing couple in town. All these things we are busy doing together. We have no extra time to worry what's going to happen to the world. We are too busy in our own world.
So we have some questions and answers coming up. I have many more questions to ask you, but I want to give opportunity to our participants, global participants, if they have any questions. And Vibhay Sinha, right here in California, Northern California, has a question for you. Vibhay, please unmute yourself and go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, I have two questions for Ashwini.
Yes, sir.
One is that how does spirituality enter into this whole framework of your lifestyle and of your thinking? And the second question is very simple. You have a picture of the Don, Marlon Brando, I can see. And I was curious as to how does Don enter into Ashwini's mind?
Beautiful, beautiful. You know, I was just starting up in business, early 20s, and I read the Godfather book, and I saw the Godfather movie, and I saw the movie again and again, some 15 times. I read the book 3, 4 times. I related with the good, bad man uh, that the Godfather was. He wouldn't do drugs for a business, but gambling was not a dirty business. So by chance, I was in the lottery business, though they were not hardcore gambling kinds, but I was in the lottery business, and a lot of not the literally it's having blood on the street kind of a lifestyle, but the philosophy with which this man could be ruthless and yet be principled in his business of life is what I picked up from this movie. So that's how the dawn behind me. Spirituality, yes, if you're on a spiritual path, you understand that you're not going to live forever. So if you're not going to live forever, might as well live happily, blissfully, live right. And, uh, and then ego will have no place in your life. You wouldn't overly accumulate because you know that you're not going to be able to transfer money with you. So lots of these spiritual dimensions, looking after your mind, body, and the energies that flow within your system becomes very important to you. And I do practice all these things. I do my daily yoga, my meditation, my chanting, my sadhana, some 3, 4 hours a day. I play golf. I do romantic tango dancing. So I think I'm a mix of spirituality and ethical ruthlessness, if you may, kind of both.
Thank you, Ashwini. One question. Right now, Delhi environment, you go out of your home and California is just about the same. It's beautiful. And aren't you wondering what will happen once things open up? And is there anything an average citizen in Delhi or even here in US, what can we do? One of the things, of course, you already mentioned, rather than growing grass, a lot of people are talking about growing vegetables in their backyard. And but what is your vision or what is your suggestion? How can we keep Delhi one of the most beautiful cities like it used to be? And is there any hope?
Honestly, I've now started saying that I'm a child of the universe. So while Delhi is home to me, it has its own problems. I've started calling us Indians as a sea of irresponsible humanity. When I use the word sea, I'm talking of overpopulation. By the way, all my children know, uh, as and when any one of them decides to have their own children, they'll be very, very embarrassed to face me because I keep telling them, listen, this world is overpopulated. The world's resources do not match with the demand upon them. 7.2 billion people already. this world could only handle, according to me, half the world's population that exists today, and the numbers are growing. So imagine, I have no desire to be a grandpa at all. My daughter got married. I told her, darling, try not to have a child of your own. Too many people on the planet, and that's my message to everybody in Delhi, in India. Our numbers are growing exponentially. When numbers grow, uh, irresponsible lifestyles do come in. You know, there's a million fires that happen at a certain time in and around Delhi. Even now, 2 months ago, there was leaf fall that started. People keep bunching up shed leaves and burning them. I have a brigade of 20 people all over the neighborhood who call in the police, get the fires extinguished, and put my life to risk. I've been physically beaten up by people on whom we create legal situations. So all told, Indian humanity uh, largely, while will be spiritually evolved in these times, but not at all to my satisfaction. I probably want to be in a place where there are more responsible human beings. There's no explosion of population. There's more awareness, better air qualities. California is definitely better than Delhi.
Well, are you ready to go to Mars if Elon Musk has a new plan? Perhaps get into the waiting list and start the environmental journey there.
If Dickie is allowed to come along, yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
As a responsible citizen, well, one question. I noticed that, like I already said, I have found in you an amazing learner. Initially, most of the people start their life with blaming others. And like you mentioned earlier, right? And then you were able to quickly grasp the empowerment concepts, and you were able to empower yourself. And then I noticed that the life circumstances, when you are in the toughest situation, rather than going down, you use them as the best time to describe, and you open up your heart, and now you learn there also, and people like Nek Chand who came into your life, and planted the tree planting ideas came from there, right? So you have always been a learner from a lot of people you have learned, and now you also have Sadhguru. So what are the things, if you can summarize your life, all the things you have learned over the years, and and bring it up, ending in spiritual learning, the ultimate stage of life where you begin to feel oneness with all, with environment and with animals and all the beings. So would you summarize your learnings?
So with Nek Chand, what I learned was utter humility. I learned to live a life of zero waste, if possible. From my home, from my lifestyle, we are a zero waste campus of 8 acres, 25 people, the family plus support people put together.
What does that mean? What does that mean, zero waste? And can I do zero waste in my home?
Yes. We can work together, minimize or make the plastic ingress zero. The products that you consume, you decide what you buy based on the packaging in which one company versus another is providing you the same product, that kind of a thing. And then we do stuff like eco bricks, all the biomass stays inside and becomes soil energizer. We've used this expression from night soil to soil energizer. And so with Nek Chand, this tree planting, composting, rainwater harvesting, zero waste, turning a lot of waste into things of beauty, aesthetics, all this came into my life. And with Sadhguru, the spiritual side, understanding that you're not going to live forever and accepting it. You wouldn't believe it. The day of the death of my 2 children, I was all right. I just, something in me happened. I started to breathe soft and deep. And this, I don't have to do it consciously. Something Sadhguru's done on me in terms of the sadhana, the practices that I do. Whenever times are extremely tough, some self-defense mechanism takes over. I start breathing soft and slow. And that's something which is unexplainable. And it's happened to me. And accepting death very easily. I mean, it's easier said than done for almost all people. But at least when I saw it, I just went through the paces. Day 3 of this tragedy, I was at the arbitration proceedings, and people out there were shocked to see me there. I was pretty all right. Incidentally, the day of the death of the children, I had Sadhguru coming in for a satsang. 450 people were invited to my home with a dinner. Sadhguru offered to call off that plan. And I said, no, Sadhguru, I've learned from you that the business of life must go on. Imagine such humongous tragedy of this magnitude, and the dinner, the satsang, the whole spiritual program happened in my house. So these are the learnings from both these people who pretty much made me who I am today. And not to forget Dinesh Chandra, who brought me the serious lessons on collaborative working, empowerment, giving dignity to people who you work with. These are my 3 main sources of strength in my life. The direction pretty much came from them.
You have been an amazing, you really opened your heart, you shared from your heart and soul. So I again want to thank you very much, and wish both you and your significant other, your partner Dicky, a wonderful time ahead, and hope some of the ideas you have shared, some of our participants would like to explore, reflect. And our program is all about, we call knowledge is power, and doing is superpower.